Hey, it's Daniel. Hey, beautiful people. So I am in Manchester, New Hampshire. That's where I am, and I'm at a Chunky's restaurant. It's I think it's like a cinema restaurant as well. But I guess there's a bar here. I haven't gotten quite in. I'm waiting for the Yang Gang, and it is cold out there. It's too cold for me. Honestly, can't wait for South Carolina and Vegas, so that would be much better. But anyway, so Daniel here representing the Yang Gang. We'll see what happens. Hopefully Andrew will kill it today. That's the hope, the dream. So staying on the Yang Gang, see where the Yang Yacht takes me. Take care, everyone. Bye. Hey, this is Daniel. I am with the Yang Gang here at the watch party, and I have some thoughts about what happened in Iowa. So what's your name?
Suman. Here with the Yang Gang in New Hampshire. We watched the debate, Candace, so looking forward to it.
Okay, I got Suman, and what's your name?
My name is Tordo. I'm representing Art Farm in Nebraska, but I'm currently based in New York City, and that's where we came from.
Okay, so right now you're New Yorkers. So
yes, for now.
For now, okay. So you were talking to me a little bit how you thought Andrew should have spent a lot of his time in New Hampshire, and everybody was gone. So can you expand on that just a little bit?
I just thought that Iowa would be a tough state for Andrew, and it seemed to me that while everybody was fighting it out in Iowa, that New Hampshire, which is a state I think Andrew could do really well in, I think that he kind of had the state to himself. So I mean, he can't do anything about it now, but it just seemed to me like that New Hampshire would have been a place where he could have spent a little more time, while everybody else is in Iowa.
And New Hampshire, Andrew has Steve Marchand, and I know that guy's a gangster, so for the Yang Gang. So I think, I don't know if his time in Iowa was worth it at all, but I think he should have spent just more like viral video type of deal, media, instead of the classy ads that he,
I
spent
don't know if
lots
that
of
would
money on.
appeal to Iowans, though.
Well, he just needed name recognition. That's all he really needed,
That's sort of true, but I felt like even though it may have been sort of a waste of time to some extent to spend a lot of effort in Iowa, I feel like at the same time it was sort of worth it just to be able to show where he stood, like that he stood up for like the people who went for Trump.
Yeah, I can only hope like some of what he did there translates to the other states. Yeah, because it's more video out there. It's more him interacting with people,
Farmers.
With farmers. But how do you feel about his chances now in New Hampshire and the debate tonight? Where do you think?
I think Andrew's got a really good shot in New Hampshire. I think this is the state where it lines up pretty well for him because it's an open primary, so he's got the opportunity to have independents vote for him as well as Republicans who think he's got a good message. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if he could hit double digits here in New Hampshire. I think this could be a really good state for him.
Okay. Do you think so too?
I mean, I definitely do agree, though. There's going to be more competition with other candidates like Tulsi.
Yeah, Chelsea's big here too, I hear. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hope for the best, plan for the worst. The Yang Gang will keep on keeping on, and thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Take it easy.
Okay, hey everyone. Guess what? I have a brand new microphone that I finally found, and we get to test out right now. So hopefully the audio quality gets better and better as we make these little videos. So what's your name again, sir?
Suman.
Suman. I just didn't want to mess it up. And I also have
Shane.
Shane is with me. Okay. And so Suman said that, strangely enough, that you had met Andrew before he became president. Tell us about that.
So it just turns out it's almost surreal at this point, but I had taken his Manhattan GMAT class, so he was one of my GMAT instructors, among other teachers, and so I got a chance to meet him, and he was literally basically the same person he was then that he is now. Like, he was super nice guy, like incredibly down to earth, super smart. He even told the same similar awkward jokes that he tells now. So you literally couldn't even tell. He's been a different, any different than he was back then.
And that made me think, because I just saw a New York Times article kind of trying to say that he's a different person now than he was back then or whatever. But I have somebody who actually kind of met him before, and he was the same funny, charismatic guy that he's always been, huh?
Yeah, I mean, when I saw the videos of him and all the things of because I obviously hadn't kept in touch with him, but you literally couldn't tell that he's been any different than he was before. So from when I had met him back when I took his course.
Okay, awesome.
I wasn't sure. I like Tulsi and Yang, but he's just so genuine. When you hear him speak, you can tell he's real.
Okay, you heard it here, folks. He's a real guy. I've met him several times. He's a great guy and hasn't changed too much over the years. So anyway, keep joining us here at the Gang Gang, and thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.
President Biden, the first question is for you. In the last few days, you've been saying that Democrats will be taking too big a risk if they nominate Senator Sanders or Mayor Buttigieg. But they came out on top in Iowa. What risk did the Iowa Democrats miss?
Well, they didn't miss anything. It's the long race. I took a hit in Iowa.
Unless you can appeal to the diverse parts of the Democratic Party, including specifically the black community, including specifically Latinos, if you can't do that, then we can't beat Donald Trump in November, and we can't choose a candidate who can't do that. And I am doing that right now, with 24% of blacks down in South Carolina, with high numbers in Nevada. That's what it's going to take.
Iowa, a traditional swing state, went to Trump by almost 10 points. That's why Ohio, a traditional swing state, is now so red that I'm told we're not even going to campaign there. So these communities are seeing their way of life get blasted into smithereens. We've automated away 4 million manufacturing jobs and counting. We're closing 30% of New Hampshire stores and malls, and Amazon, the force behind that, is literally paying zero in taxes. These are the changes that Americans are seeing and feeling around us every day, and if we get to the hard work of curing those problems, we will not just defeat Donald Trump in the fall, but we'll actually be able to move our communities forward.
I know we're going to hear a lot more.
Does that mean that any alleged misconduct by the president or his administration should not be investigated?
There are, of course, limits, and you have to see what the facts are on the ground after you assume office. But the fact is, if you look around the world, the countries that have thrown past presidents into jail have generally been developing countries. And unfortunately, that's a pattern that once you establish is very, very hard to break. What's a more American tradition? We move the country forward. We don't focus on the mistakes of the leaders that are leaving office. Most Americans do not care about what a particular individual did so much as they care about their families, well-being, their community, their town. That's where Americans focus wants. They want the American president. They want the president, of course, the American president, sorry about that. They want the president to be focused on that, and that's where our attention should be. We should not fall into a pattern that has been disastrous in other countries.
Senator Sanders.
All overdose patients, and what would you do to fill the gap in the meantime?
That's what we have to change, Monica. I've heard heartbreaking stories from families here in New Hampshire that have been destroyed, torn apart by the opiate epidemic. And you have to look at the companies that profited to the tune of tens of billions of dollars in profits of essentially blood money. As president, we will take back those profits and put them to work right here in New Hampshire so that if you are seeking treatment, you have resources to be able to pursue it. This is not a money problem fundamentally, this is a human problem, but money cannot be the obstacle. This is something that happened on the government's watch. The government allowed this opiate epidemic to spread throughout our communities, and we have to do everything in our power to actually make sure that if you're seeking treatment, you know you're not going to be sent to jail. We have safe injection and safe consumption sites for you. If you have a family member who's struggling, you can refer them and know that they're not going to have criminal penalties as a result. There is so much about this that's endemic to what's happened throughout the country in terms of companies running amok, this hyper corporate capitalism where if money's on one side in this country and people are on the other side, the money is winning. You can see it with the opiate epidemic, you can see it with the military industrial complex, the fossil fuel companies. This is what we must change, and that's where I'll lead as president. Yeah. People of color. If anything, they're getting worse because we're in the process of eliminating the most common jobs in our economy. It's something of an economic unnatural disaster, and who suffers most in a natural disaster? People of color, people with lower levels of capital and access to opportunity and education. And while I know we love to champion education here as Democrats, only 33% of Americans are going to attend college. Lower percentage of African Americans. There is no way we can prevent this tsunami from wiping out African American net worth unless we put straight cash into their hands sometime between now and 2053. And it's not just them. It is truck drivers, it is retail clerks, it is call center workers, it is accountants, it is bookkeepers. We are in the midst of the greatest economic transformation in the history of our country. And it's going to hit black people the hardest. We have to stop nibbling at the edges and actually start solving the real problem.
We've been getting a lot of questions.
Hi everyone, so I'm here with Steve Marchand, and what did you think of the night? Just your basic impressions.
Yeah, two levels. On the debate itself, Andrew, not a big surprise. Whenever he gets to speak, he packs more content and clarity into a 1-minute answer than any of the other candidates. And it's always been a challenge in this process. Can you get enough time to compete with some of the folks that start off with a big name idea in this process? I like that he asserted himself a few times in ways that exceeded the level of assertiveness I've ever seen before in the debates. I think he knows he needs to do that. And I think he keeps getting better in each debate. He gave some great answers, and he really focused on economic inequality, which I think is one of the main things we're hearing about among undecided voters. And then we're excited to use this as well as the 100 Club dinner tomorrow night, the big New Hampshire dinner tomorrow night. We got about 13 town hall meetings and a few other events, and we're going to push right through the finish line. And I feel really good that we can finish high in this primary and use it in a way that allows us to go on and have momentum in the process.